J.R. Smith hasn't found a new NBA team since being let go by the LA Lakers after the 2020 NBA season. J.R. has played 16 seasons in the NBA, winning the championship twice in 2016 and 2020. He also won a 6th Man of the Year award in 2013. And in this video, we look back on J.R. Smith's eventful 16-year NBA career. J.R. Smith, he spent 5 years in high school, 1 extra year, which meant he went straight to the NBA, didn't bother going to college, and he declared himself for the 2004 NBA draft. He's picked up number 18 overall by the, at the time, New Orleans Hornets, now known as the New Orleans Pelicans. And in J.R.'s rookie season, he had a very good season, averaging 10.3 points per game and started 56 games that season. He was named Western Conference Rookie of the Month from January to March, so 3 consecutive months, very good. And he also entered the 2005 NBA Dunk Contest, finishing 3rd in that. And when J.R. Smith first entered the league, he was more than just a 3-point shooter. Obviously, he's a very good 3-point shooter, could play some pretty good defense, but he's also a high flyer, very good dunker of the ball. So, as the years went on, people don't know him for that. In Cleveland, that wasn't his style. He lost some of the athleticism, but young J.R. was a very good dunker. In 2005-06 season now, after missing out in the playoffs, the New Orleans Hornets got CP3 in the 2005 NBA draft, so it looked like they'd have a very good backcourt in CP3 and J.R. Smith, but it was meant to be. J.R. had a rough second season, averaging 7.7 points per game, and only starting in 25 games and only playing in 55 games, which was a big step back from his rookie season. He fell out with coach Byron Scott due to poor work ethic, was Byron Scott's reasoning, and J.R. was dropped out of the rotation near the end. So it was clear that J.R. had no place in New Orleans. They weren't going to get along, so he had to move on. And in the 2006 offseason, J.R. was traded to Chicago Bulls as part of a Tyson Chandler trade. 6 days later, he was traded to the Denver Nuggets, and this is where J.R. he really broke out here. In J.R.'s first season in Denver, he did serve a 10-game suspension, but he had a very good first season in Denver, averaging 13 points per game on 39% shooting from 3 on 6 threes a game. The Nuggets, they got the 6th seed with a 45-37 record, and it was in Denver where J.R. met Carmelo Anthony, and the two of them would go on to become great friends and play many years together. Now at the 2008-09 season, this is when J.R. really took the next step in his NBA career, coming second in 6th Man of the Year voting, averaging 15.2 points per game, 1 steal, shooting 39% from 3, and also getting 3.7 rebounds. So a big step forward for him, double-digit scoring, 15 points even, and 1 steal. So, that shows what he brings on the defensive end as well. Great offensively, especially from the 3.9, but he does his fair share defensively as well. The Nuggets, they got the 2nd seed this season with a 54-28 record, and on April 13th, 2009, J.R. had a career-high 45 points, including 11 threes, versus the Sacramento Kings. So all in all, a very successful 08-09 season for J.R. and Denver as a team, obviously getting the 2nd seed. In the 09-10 season, J.R. also followed up another good season, averaging 15.4 points per game. So he followed it up. Consistency is key in the NBA, and J.R. has been very consistent in Denver. J.R. Smith's time in Denver ended in 2011 due to the NBA lockout. So even though he's a fan favourite there, and he probably really enjoyed playing there with Carmelo Anthony and he had a good team, J.R. had to leave with the NBA lockout. He wanted to get game time, wanted to play. So that's when his time in Denver ended. J.R.'s playoff record in Denver, in 2007 he lost 4-1 to San Antonio Spurs in the first round, and he struggled in that playoff series. It was his first ever playoff series. He only averaged 4.5 points per game, but the Spurs went on to win the NBA championship that year, so there's no shame really in losing to the Spurs that year. In 2008, once again they got eliminated in the first round to the LA Lakers, who ended up making the NBA Finals. They got swept 4-0, but J.R. vastly improved in this NBA series, averaging 18 points per game in that series. So J.R. was stepping up, and the team was showing signs of improvement, as we saw the next season. In 2009 NBA playoffs, the Denver Nuggets, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, losing 4-2 to the Lakers, who went on to win the NBA championship that year. And it was a big step forward for J.R. and the Nuggets. Unbelievable version of Carmelo Anthony in that team as well. They beat the Dallas Mavericks and J.R.'s former side, the New Orleans Hornets, on the road to the Western Finals. J.R. averaged 15 points per game on 35% shooting from 3 in that playoff run. In 2010, they got eliminated in the first round again to the Utah Jazz 4-2, and the same story in 2011, losing the first round to the OKC 4-1. So the first seed we'd ever get was the Western Final 2009. But that Nuggets team, all in all, a very good team, a good young team. Maybe they spent more time together, who knows? But it was meant to be. Due to the NBA lockout in 2011, GR signed a one-year deal with Chinese side Golden Bulls. In 32 games, GR averaged 34.5 points per game, 7.4 boards and 2.5 steals. Now I don't watch the Chinese league, never have, but I hopefully over there the quality's improved, because there's no way in hell J.R. Smith should be averaging 34.5 points per game and 7.4 boards in 32 games. That's ridiculous. J.R. Smith, he was a great role player on a championship team, and part of some great teams, in Denver, against New York in a while, but there's no way J.R. Smith should be averaging that much points per game. So clearly the standard in the Chinese league at that time anyway wasn't the best, but he kept himself in good shape there, got his confidence up anyway, averaging all those points. And in 2012, Joe returned to the NBA and he teamed up with Carmelo Anthony for the second time in his career, joining the New York Knicks, averaging 12.5 points per game in 35 games in his first season back. So Joe was back in the NBA, back in the big time really, back in New York. In 2012-13, Joe averaged a career high 18 points per game, 5.3 boards and 2.7 assists per game. He also played 33 minutes a game while shooting 35% from 3 that year. And in 2013, those stats and his performances that year got him the 2013 Sixth Man of the Year. And a very successful year for him personally, and he ended up re-signing with the New York Knicks in the 2013 off-season. The 13-14 season, Gior stats went down a bit, but still very good, averaging 14.5 points per game and 39% shooting from 3 and 6.3 threes a game. So Gior personally did very well in New York, but the Knicks as a team, I think they underachieved and underwhelmed a bit. So J.R. Smith's playoff record in New York, he only made the playoffs twice there, but not successful as a team, but personally did very well. In 2012 playoffs, they lost in the first round versus the LeBron James Big Three in Miami, 4-1. J.R. averaged 12.2 points per game, 1.2 steals per game in that series. On 2013, they got to the second round versus the Indiana Pacers, where they would lose as well. So the furthest they ever got was the second round in New York. So the Knicks underwhelmed in J.R.'s time in NYC, but this was prime J.R. winning Sixth Man of the Year in 2013, averaging 18 points per game, and him personally did very well. He was fun to watch in New York as well, make some crazy shots, and still a very good dunker at the time. So as I said, personally for J.R., probably his most successful stint in his career. As a team, the Knicks underwhelmed. In January 2015, J.R. was traded to the LeBron James Cavaliers, and J.R. averaged 12.7 points per game in the 14-15 season. The Cavaliers would get to the NBA Finals that season in 2015, but injuries to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love meant the Cavaliers had no chance against the Warriors. But J.R. did very well. LeBron had to lean on him a lot as a second man. Wasn't meant to be that season, and they ended up losing the finals. 2015-16 season. This was an incredible year for the Cleveland Cavalier franchise, winning their first ever NBA championship. During the regular season, J.R. averaged 12.4 points per game on 40% shooting from 3. J.R. would play a crucial part in the Cleveland Cavaliers championship run that year. As their starting shooting guard, J.R. averaged 11.5 points per game, 1.2 steals on 43% shooting from 3 on 7 threes a game. Also playing 34 minutes a game in that playoff run. So in the playoffs, J.R. was a crucial part, as I've said, and him and Kyrie Irving in the backcourt, very effective. The Cavs came back from 3-1 down in the NBA Finals versus the 73-9 Golden State Warriors to win the NBA Championship. In Game 7, J.R. played 39 minutes out of 48, so that shows how crucial he was. He scored 12 points in that Game 7, and he was part of one of the greatest, probably the greatest comeback in NBA history, you could say. And he got his first ever ring after 2016 NBA Championship win. And after that, LeBron and the Cavs wanted to bring him back, and they finally, after a while, it took him a long time to get him to come back. But after the 2016 Championship run, J.R. re-signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers on a 4-year, $57 million contract. Unfortunately for the Cavs, immediately after signing this contract, J.R. would start to decline, averaging 8 points per game on 50% shooting from 3 on only 2.2 threes a game. J.R. was now 31 years old, and this season he was showing the signs that he was declining. And he's losing a lot of athleticism. That's why people might know him as a high flyer dunker. He was no longer dunking the ball, now just a 3-point shooter who played a bit of defense. The Cavs lost the 2017 NBA Finals with J.R. averaging 8 points per game in their playoff run. So J.R., he got paid, he got his money, but unfortunately for him, age was catching up with him. The 2017-18 season. This season would kind of define his career for the wrong reasons. He averaged 8 points per game, 8.3 points per game, on 37% shooting from 3. So stats wise, pretty similar from the year before. JR showed more signs of slowing down. It was a very difficult season for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was LeBron James' last season in Cleveland, and in 2018 NBA Finals, this is what people will remember JR Smith for. Unfortunately, Game 1 at the 2018 NBA Finals versus the Golden State Warriors. There was 4.7 seconds left. The game was tied 107-107. George Hill misses the second free throw, and JR grabs the rebound with a very, very high percentage layup. Just lay it up and in. He had very good luck to get it in. But unfortunately, JR, he didn't know he didn't know the score. I think that was it. He didn't know the score, so he ran out past the 3-point line. And by the time he realised that it was 107, it was too late. And he blew it. And LeBron, he snapped at him. We all know this great meme of him and LeBron on the court. And he got lettered by everyone. Social media, online. Stephen A. Smith was going crazy about it. Unfortunately, it's what most people remember JR for. But it wasn't meant to be this year for the Cavaliers. They ended up getting swept in 2018 Finals. LeBron left, Ty Lue left, Kyrie was already gone, Kevin Love was declining, and it was only going downhill from here. 2018-19 season, with LeBron gone, as I said, Ty Lue gone, JR fell out with the Cavaliers as he thought, they're just tanking and not trying to win, trying to get some good picks. So JR fell out with the Cavaliers. They ended up parting ways, and he didn't play for the rest of the 18-19 season or most of the 19-20 season. But JR replaced Avery Bradley and rejoined LeBron in LA and joined them in the bubble, the LA Lakers in the bubble. He'd only play 6 games as a Laker, and he looked pretty poor. I Laker fan myself. I saw all those 6 games, and he just looked a shadow for himself. Even his 3-point shooting was way off. And defense, he wasn't good at that end anymore. And he just, a shell of his former self. And he only averaged 3 points per game when he was on the court. His role though was different this time to the 2016 championship run. He was now a veteran on this team, need to help out, encourage the younger guys, encourage people playing. And he did earn that second ring in LA. Not everyone, in the playoffs, only 9-10 players really play in the rotation. So the other 5-6 guys, you got to help the team on, play your role. JR played his role as an experienced veteran, encouraging the guys. JR, as I said, he got a second ring, but this one just didn't really feel the same for him. Overall, as I said, lots of people will remember JR for the 2018 NBA Finals. And, it was an honest mistake. He didn't do it on purpose. He just didn't know the score, which people say is inexcusable. And it's been a few years since, so as a big LeBron fan myself, I've calmed down. I've let it go. I think the Cavaliers weren't going to win it anyway, but I think they would have won Game 1, and that, who knows? That's the big what if moment. But overall, JR had a very successful NBA career. Let's take away that one mistake in 2018 NBA Finals. Let's look at his career as a whole. Denver, very successful, and New York. That was, I think, Denver, New York, and even that up to the 2016 NBA championship run in Cleveland was prime JR. Broke out in Denver with Carmelo Anthony, then joined New York, and personally, with a 6-man year, unbelievable. And then a crucial part of the 2016 NBA champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Also winning another championship in 2020 with the Lakers, JR's had a great career, playing 977 NBA games, averaging 12.5 points per game and 37% shooting from 3 over a 16-year NBA career. JR Smith, great 3-point shooter, once great high flyer, very athletic person, good defender, and at the end of the day, not everyone's going to be a LeBron or a KD, leader of great teams. You need role players, and great role players. And JR Smith was a great role player in his career. And we all gonna remember him for that 2018 mistake, and he's given so much memes in his career, which is great for the fans. But overall, JR Smith had a great NBA career. Not everyone's gonna, as I said, gonna be a 4-time MVP or whatever. He's a 6-man of the year, 2-time NBA champion, and even playing in the NBA 16 seasons is a great achievement in itself. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's plenty of videos coming out, so stay notified. And also, tell me what you think with JR Smith's career. What will you remember JR Smith for? Will it be the 2018 moment with the Cavaliers, or just something else with the Nuggets, the Knicks, or even the Lakers? Who knows? But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and all that said, I'm out of here.